Hello and welcome to this week's Messy Open the Book. Later on, Reverend Helen will be doing the craft and singing a song, and I'll be reading a story that's called The Bad Brother. I do hope you've all had a good week and that you have had time to enjoy some of this lovely weather we've been having. It's good to be with you. And so first, Reverend Helen is doing our craft.
So our craft today, well, I was thinking about the father of Esau and Jacob and how he was a little bit blind and they could trick him if they wanted to because of his sight. And it reminded me a little bit of a game I used to play as a child. A game where things were put in a box and you used to have to put your hand in and find out what was in there just by feeling and by not using your sight. So I thought I'd make one of those boxes today. And again, the things that I use, the things that I've found around the house, I haven't bought anything special, and I found some fun things to put in, safe things, but things that might make people think, oh, now what's that? So as you can see, I've got a big box, and it is quite a big box. If I put my hand in it, well, I've got a big hand, you can see that it's quite a large box, but it's just one that a parcel came in the house, and I've saved the box. And what I've done is I've got some wrapping paper. I think this was left over from Christmas that I found in the garage, and I've covered the box. Now on the sides I've just put a little bit of tape to hold it in place because my glue wasn't particularly good. I used some Pritt stick, just a glue stick, and then I had some, I think they call it gaffer tape. There's probably some in your garage or in your shed, and I just put that around the edge. But if you've got a pretty box, you might not need to actually decorate it at all. So here's our box. Now what I need to do is I need to make a hole in the side, and I did start this earlier because when you've got a cardboard box, it can be quite difficult to cut. So you need a hand size to go into your box. So I'll just finish cutting that out now. Just come around the side like that. So you need a hole, but I thought really that hole's a bit too big because you could just peep in and have a look. So I'm going to put my box just in the middle there. And then I've got a piece of card. Now, again, you haven't got to be exact, but what I thought I could do is if I put the piece of card over there like that, and then I drew around the circle, I could have an inner cover. So I'm going to hold my purple paper just in there. It doesn't matter what colour you use. And I'm just going to draw a rough circle just inside there like that. Now I put my box to one side for a moment, and you can see that I've got just a circle in the right place on the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dot in the middle, and I'm going to cut out from that dot to the outside of my circle. Now be careful when you first make the hole not to make a snip in your finger. Use sensible scissors that aren't going to cut your hand. Can you see? So I'm not actually going to remove the circle. I'm just going to cut to the edges like that. Now, when I've done that, I'm going to cut down the middle there. It gets easier when you've got more cuts in there and there. So it's like cutting up a piece of pie from the middle. I'm going to do one more in each of my pies, like I'm sharing it out among lots of people. So more pieces of pies, but the circle is still intact. Nearly there. So this is still hand size, certainly for my hand. So if you were going to play it with adults, it would fit their hand as well. And I can put my hand through there, but the circle stays covered. Now what I need to do is just glue this inside my box. So the best thing is to glue the piece of paper that you're going to stick down. So I shall move my wrapping paper and the things I don't need out of the way, and I shall put lots of glue on my piece of paper here so it sticks well to the inside of the box. Do you see? But I'm not actually going to stick the circle just all the way round there like that. Now that goes inside the box, and you need to line up. This is very difficult to show you, but I shall show you when I've done it. I just need to make sure that I've done it correctly. Oh, it needs to come up just a little bit. Can you see? So I'm going to put my circle there, lined up. Oh, it's fiddly because it's on the inside. There we are. So the circle that you drew lines up with the box, and then my flat there will just stay up. You can press that down onto the inside of your box. Now I think what I might do is just put a little bit of tape around the sides just to hold it down, because a hand is going to be going in and out of there, so you want to make sure that it stays nice and still. Now I'm just being a bit lazy really, because I haven't got my sellotape, but I did have this lovely strong black tape to hand, so I'm using that. But if you're going to use stuff like that, you might just want to ask the adults who look after you if you can use it. There, so can you see I've stuck down my piece of paper in there so that when I turn my box over, I've got a hidden secret panel that means I can't see what is inside the box. Now, if you remember as well, you want to put different things in the box, so you need to be able to open the top of the box. So I've left the top of my box open so I can put things inside. Now I'm going to put in some items. I have a sunflower. It's dying, so I hope my daughter doesn't mind me borrowing it, but I'm going to put that in the box. I've also found this in the fruit bowl. It's quite nice and solid, a bit sticky at one end. I wonder if you know what that is. So I'll put that in the box. Then there's a very simple pipe cleaner that I've sort of twisted around a little bit to make into a shape. There we go, that goes in the box. I have 3 more items. I made this a long time ago, a little wooden cross that I decorated, so I'm going to put that in the box. Then I have an old key, not a key that I use all the time or my daughters use all the time, but a key on a key ring. And yours might look a little bit different, but we've got a bulldog in our house and she eats food that looks like this, and I thought, well, that's fun. Wonder how many people will know what that is. So I'm putting some of that in as well. Now, You can't really play this game on your own because if you've put the items in there, you'll know what they are. But when you've put them in, if you seal your box and you do 1, 2, 3, and then you put that one there under there like that, that actually seals the box, but it means you can open it again without ripping the paper. So you now have a sealed box with a secret panel and lots of items inside. So if I put my hand into the box and felt around, I can't see. But I wonder if you can remember what was in the box. I found something that's a little bit spiky. It's got lots of soft little bits and a hard middle. Not quite sure what that might feel like if I didn't know. But can you remember what I put in there? If I pull it out, maybe you can remember. I wonder how many of you, by not using your sight, would have known what a sunflower felt like. There's the spiky bit, the soft bits and the hard bit in the middle. So there's one of my items. Right. Oh, this one was big and round. Can you remember what that was? I don't think I told you what it was called. I can't obviously see the colour, but if I pull that out of the box, it's a mango. Now I've got to be careful with that because if it's a bit ripe, it'll feel a bit squidgy. Right, I'm feeling around. Oh yes. Do you remember what I curled around my finger? It's very long, very thin and a little bit furry. That might make me jump if I touch that and I didn't know what it was. Can you remember my pipe cleaner? So we've got 3 more items to find. Ah, this is a funny little item. It's a bit curly, very small. It's a piece of Bella's dog food. I wonder how many people would have felt that and thought, oh, I wonder what that is. So I'm feeling around again. There's another item there. This one's made of cold metal. There. It's my key. And the final item, can you remember what it was? I made it and coloured it in a long time ago. It is my wooden cross. So it's a great game to play with your brothers and your sisters and your friends and your family. You can put some safe items in there, maybe even some fun items that might feel a bit strange when people feel them and they will have to work out what it is you've put in the box. So this is my secret box game. You can put whatever you want inside as long as it's safe. And then you've got your secret panel that we made with paper to stop you from cheating. And you can fold it like that so that you can reseal the box and you can play that game with lots of people. So there is my secret box. That does mean that sometimes you have to work a little bit harder when you can't see exactly what is in front of you. So why don't you try making one over the summer and see what unusual items you can put in that your family and your friends might recognise. Have a go and see what you think you might be able to feel.
Our story this week is called The Bad Brother. Isaac had 2 sons. The eldest son's name was Esau, which means hairy. The younger son's name was Jacob, which means something like cheat. Isaac liked Esau because he was big and strong and hairy and could hunt. One day, when Isaac was old and blind, he asked Esau to go and kill an animal and cook the meat and bring him something to eat. When you've done that, he said, I will tell you what I'm going to do when I die. So Esau ran off, bow slung over his shoulder, his hunting knife in hand, he was in such a hurry. What he didn't notice was Rebecca hiding in the tent. Rebecca was his mother. And which son did Rebecca favour? Jacob, of course. Partly because he stayed at home to help her, and partly because he was clever and sneaky, like she was. Rebecca decided then that Isaac's promise to Esau should go to Jacob. So she went and found Jacob, and together they plotted. And in no time at all, Esau had a visitor. "Back so soon, my boy. That meat you've got there smells wonderful. Bring it to me, Esau." The son brought the meat to the father. The son set it down, but the son was not Esau. "Here you are, father," said Jacob, in as gruff a voice as he could manage. But the old man was not fooled. Isaac may have been blind, but he was not yet deaf. "Is that really you, Esau? Come here. Let me touch those hairy arms." Jacob came closer, and he stretched out his arm and wrapped them around Jacob, and Jacob felt them, and they were hairy. That's because Rebecca had wrapped them in goat skin. "It is you, Esau," said Isaac. "Well then, here is my promise. When I die, you will have my land and grow many crops. And beside that, I will put you in charge of the whole family. They must do whatever you tell them." Jacob could hardly believe this. So when his father kissed him, he ran off to tell his mother, excited. And that was a good thing, because just as he left, his brother Esau came back with another plate of meat. "I'm back," cheerfully he said, "and I can't wait to hear your promise." "What?" exclaimed Isaac. "But I've already given my promise away." And he told Esau what had happened. Esau listened, and bit by bit, his face grew as red as his hair. "Jacob!" he shouted. "You cheat! One day I will kill you." But God was watching and listening, and he had something else in mind altogether. We don't always do what is right. We don't always do what we should. Sometimes we want things that are not ours. But God is always watching and always knows what we should do. So my prayer for all of us in the coming weeks is that we will know what we should do, what is right and just. And remember that God is always with us. Amen.
So, I'm going to sing a song with you, and I think it'll be my final song for the summer, because we're going to quieten things down a little bit over August. We're still going to have a weekly session, so please do just tune in as you normally would, but we're going to just quieten things down a bit and focus on some other things. So I'm going to sing my favourite song, Our God is a Great Big God, and I believe it's Bishop Philip's favourite song as well, because I think he sang it on Sunday again with you all at 9:30. So you all know it very well, so do join in. Our God is a great big God, and we do that a few times. Then he says, and he holds us in his hands. And then we do the verse. So he's higher than a skyscraper, and if you've got lots of room, stand on your tip tops. And he's deeper than a submarine, we go down. He's wider than the universe, go as wide as you can and beyond our wildest dreams. But he knows us and he loves us before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. You all know it. Shall we sing it through twice? Are you ready? Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. Let's do that again. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. On your tiptoes. He's higher than a skyscraper, and he's deeper than a submarine. He's wider than the universe and beyond our wildest dreams. But he knows us and he loves us since before the world began. And clap, how wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Again, our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. Let's do that one more time. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and he holds us in his hands. Well done. I hope you joined in those actions.
So I hope you have a good week this week. Next week, we're going to hear the second part of that story about Jacob and Esau. But I hope in the week to come, you will always make the good decisions, the right decisions. And so may you have a peaceful and joy-filled week. Amen.